Welcome. My name is Penelope Chatterton. Welcome to Awaken the Dream. My friends, as you know, Joel Goldsmith, the mystic, is my mentor. He is the man that I've dedicated my mission to. And Consciousness, of course, is What I Am, is the name of the book I want to talk about today. And I have had this recommended to me, but I didn't realize how powerful it would be for helping those of us on the path that get some hints about how we're doing. Because Joel mentions some experiences that he has had as a mystic, which is kind of wonderful. It helps us to define our journey, our trip. Are we doing okay? Because we work so hard. Now, I'm in East Hampton, and I love coming and working with Tim Riley. He is very sensitive to me, and the studio's set right, and I'm very grateful because I like privacy. And that has so much to do with the Infinite Way movement, which was founded by Joel Goldsmith. Privacy is we don't toot our horns, we don't tell everyone we know the answer to mysticism, to life, to how it's supposed to work. We don't tell people they're not doing it right. We love our neighbor as ourselves, which is a very, very big mission when you realize human consciousness isn't that good at that. And I think that was key for me. When we think we know we need to, but if we can't, we're hard on ourselves. It's like, that's not part of loving your neighbor, is to judge them. So what helps me in Consciousness is What I Am, is that God can do that through you and for you because you are an instrument. Joel starts out trying to lay the scene about the living and the walking dead. It's very powerful to hear the word walking dead. It's like, oh, but he's very, very blatant about human consciousness. We can be joyless. We can come into this lifetime with cumulative information that isn't the truth. Many of us, and I was one of them, was not told about the kingdom within me as a child. I grew up thinking about inheritance, money, jobs, prestige. What is important in this human world? That was my background. I was blessed. I had some heads up by a voice teacher when I was a teenager that plunked me on the path through, of course, consciousness that put me there. My voice teacher walked on water and miracles happened around her, and we couldn't talk about it because she did live in the fourth dimension like Joel does. Joel managed to meditate and he found God. He figured out how to love God, how to find it through meditation, which is the information for the Infinite Way, meditation. We learn about what's the only power. We learn about what's the only presence. The only wisdom is God. There is nothing else. And if we want to know that and live it, we can be joyful. We can let go of everything we think that's expected of us, and as a result, have everything that's within us because it's already in place. We have nothing to look for out there. It's letting go of everything out there that gives us everything within that we need. And so I like that. That makes life simple. God is everywhere. When you see someone, that is God. Everything is God. Now that clears up a lot, doesn't it? We're going through our day and all of a sudden our judgments happen and we're looking at issues and we're obsessing about things, and then we have to come up to, is that God? If we don't see that, we have got to turn everything around and get with it. Everything is God manifesting because consciousness is what we all are. Even though we got into the Adam and Eve, we got into the evil and the good, and we swallowed all of that, the human consciousness, we took all of that on. Consciousness never ever left us. It's been within, waiting for us. And as Joel says, God is knocking at the door constantly, 24/7. He's present, he's waiting to work with us as instruments, transparencies for love, and for peace, and for joy. And so as a result of being a transparency, we are receivers. We learn how to listen, and to the degree that we listen, we have the kingdom. So, you know, Simplicity we all need. It's so confusing to be here. Simplicity just means simply God is everywhere. Consciousness is what I am. Despite the cumulative energy I brought in that, works the energy of the human plane. I mean, our primal source wants us back. We were given that. It draws us back. So it's not going to leave us alone. And we do our homework. Joel says, work the word. The word itself will not give you salvation, but take the word into your soul. Let it digest. Let it become you. Practice, pray without ceasing. So that sounds simple enough. And it is. Pray without ceasing. Once we have a glimpse of eternity, once we have some illumination, we're plunked on the path, and our job, because it can be a slow, evolving journey, our job is to not only pray without ceasing, but meditate, stop all day long, minutes, grab minutes. Remember, I am looking at God. God is everything that I am, and everything I see is whole, complete, perfect. God doesn't see sin. He doesn't see disease. He doesn't tell you the right food and the wrong food, because consciousness is actually in charge of how you feel about things. And it's your feelings. When you communicate with God, you know it. Your feelings receive answers. All of a sudden you realize that you're at peace and something restful is happening because you and God are communing, because you have taken that quiet time. You have rested. You have shut your eyes, and in that darkness, eternity enters. You're on the path. So my friends, we have this journey. We have mystics. Krishna in India, Buddha, China, Jesus. We have mystics that have the same pattern that human beings have. They discovered the Christ within themselves, the love within themselves, the purity within themselves. They were not like the church in the old days that said Jesus was the only mystic and we must just worship him because he was the only one who could be a mystic. Well, that's not what mystics tell us. And a lot of the energy in Greece of metaphysics and mysticism got lost. We kind of lost a period there where we didn't get the information that we would have loved. And I really believe Joel came in as many metaphysicians and mystics to show us the way. All right, so we're on the path. We've had a glimpse. We are at work. We take on our daily assignments. We love our neighbor as ourselves, knowing if we can't, God can do it for us. And we can chuckle and say, okay, it's your turn. This is a tough one for me. But just knowing that you are connected, that you're communing and never alone, and that your consciousness is going to drown out this plane. It's inevitable. Consciousness is going to bury and dissolve the earth plane and all of the good and the evil and all the things that can go wrong, all the sin and the disease and the stuff that we have bought into. Consciousness is going to accomplish that. And we are being called on to have our own personal mission. Now here's what Joel says about that. You know, I don't know about you folks, but I've had so many missions it's hard to believe. I thought I was going to be a serious pianist, singer, toe dancer. And I've been teaching dance and voice for 40, 50 years, so I thought that was it. Well, I am older, and there are very interesting things that can happen to you because we're so creative that all of a sudden you find you've got a mission that you never, ever expected would happen. I did not choose this. Honestly, I know that. It chose me because as I read Joel Goldsmith's work and I got onto my own stepping stones, I began to feel more peace. I began to feel more alive, healthy. I just felt complete. And the appreciation that Joel gives us is be patient. Think of the cumulative energy you brought in. We don't know how many lifetimes we've had. We don't know how many we're going to have in the future, but all we can be blessed with is, yes, the struggle is there. We all hold on to something. We just do. We resist things. And we don't know why, maybe, but it's just part of the scene. We just have to keep surrendering. If you have a problem, surrender it. Ask consciousness to help you with it. Give it to consciousness. Talk about it within, commune. And you can feel a wonderful release, knowing you're on a path, and be open to anything that you enjoy doing that wakes you up to feeling inner peace. You may have the most mysterious mission given you. So I found mine, and I can't be stopped, because every time I show up and I do my studying and I listen to tapes, I feel better. Life makes more sense. I know I'm eternal. I know I never had a beginning. There'll never be an end. There is no death. That is comforting. And of course, it's so hard to lose people. There is no question that we do mourn. It's just one of the things in our human scene that we deal with. And that's a tough one. That probably is the hardest, because we're attached, we love folks, we feel safe with friends, we share love together. But our mystical friends, according to Joel, will be the ones that we may join up with again. And let me explain that. Because mystics have actually raised our consciousness and have done all this work for us. I will see Margaret Teeters again, I will see Joy Smith again, I will see Ira Wheatley again, and I'm going to meet Joel Goldsmith. I'm going to know, because of the work I'm doing, they are working with me. Children will be born as we keep moving along in consciousness, knowing all of this. They won't maybe come into what we were fed when we were kids. It's coming up. Children will be so blessed. They're going to know the truth. They're going to know the kingdom right from the get-go. And their lives will be blessed. They'll find their missions. They do come from God. Parents are transparencies for them, but they have an assignment and they have a mission. So my friends, the Garden of Eden is waiting for you. Consciousness is saying, here I am, I'm knocking at the door. Keep opening it. I will come rushing in. I will rush in to embrace you and give you the peace that you're looking for. And I will talk to you. I will speak to you. I will send hunches. And things that come to you. For a while there, I didn't quite understand that actually that was Spirit working with me. I take serious note now of everything that comes to me from out of nowhere. It's not out of nowhere. It's for me personally. So we all are individualized folks working on the path. Now, if we're all in a serious mission together, what is this second coming all about? I think I discussed this on the last program where, we're a wave of folks that are working on raising consciousness. Our job, though, is to individually see the Christ in everyone. See the God in front of you, everywhere. Even today, when you put the TV on, that's a little hard to do. It's a bit of a stretch. You got to do it. You got to see cries for help. You've got to see people who are lost and see them for who they really are, even if they don't know. You're the one who's trying to raise consciousness. You've got a job to do. We all have a mission to do, so you've got to do that. That's all you have to do. Take every moment of every day, and it'll get easier and easier. And you'll get lost, and you'll say, oh my gosh, all my work, where did it go? I'm not doing a good job. And yet, every time you're lost and confused, you come back stronger. So the second coming has everything to do with all of us having a job. My friends, keep your ear open for a mission. One hint about that mission will be, how do you feel alive? And I keep thinking about, what if you were raised to be a doctor or an industrial worker, or you had, like myself, I was going to be a toe dancer in New York forever. You have these wonderful goals, and they change. You change, you grow. And you never thought, maybe, gee, I'm switching from this, and now I'm ready to do something that's even more me. Because if I wanted to be a dancer or I wanted to do all of these things, I'm still in the world of appearance. And yes, I can lift consciousness as a dancer and as a singer, but that wasn't where I was going to end up. And heaven knows where I'm going from here, but I'm pretty sure this is it, because I keep showing up. So be prepared to switch gears. Let's say you've done all this work in a field that doesn't feel like you. We always say to folks whom we are close to, do what you love. And you know, there are practical folks who say, don't you dare do what you love. You need that degree, you need those benefits, you need blah, blah, blah. I mean, that's the world of appearance. You never know if you step out on a limb and find something incredibly unique about you, what that can give you, where that can lead, what doors open up as you close other doors that aren't the real you. You are consciousness. Consciousness is where I am at all times. This whole planet, this whole, the soul that fills all space, the whole universe is going to wipe out good and evil because it's not real. And I can't say enough about that is not real. Good and evil are not real. Illness is not real. And that's been very hard for me to grapple with because my life has been saved through medicine and surgeries and everything else, and that was right. But I'm growing and changing and hoping that because of my knowledge and my affirmed feeling about listening very carefully about what my needs are, if it is some medication, then I'll know that's from consciousness, and right now that's right. So you listen for the kingdom. Life comes with that. So don't accept negativity. And you're bound to hear it everywhere you go. Judgment, everywhere you go. Be private. And again, being private helps you to be within and not have to retaliate and fix anybody. In the last program, I said we're not looking for a stadium where they're going to cheer us like Big Papi. We want to do our work in consciousness, in privacy, and be inner. You close your eyes and you're there. And the universe is right there, rushing in. It's interesting to close those eyes and be in the dark and then all of a sudden say, speak, I am listening, I am your servant. You are in charge of my life. Everything you think and feel and know, because what you're bringing out in the little self of me is my real self. So my real self is talking to my other self. And the depth of me is giving me consciousness. So we have got duality here. It goes back and forth. We walk the path, we fall off it, we get back on it. And again, I want to say thanks to Margaret and Joy and Ira, because when I was a teenager and I was given the glimpse, I went into the light. I couldn't quite deal with it at the time. I just know when I came back, I had quite an emotional time with how I felt because it was too good it was just so beautiful, it was overwhelming, and there were no words for it. And then we do get glimpses, but then we have to go to work. We remember the principles of the Infinite Way, and Infinite Way students are working on this. There is one power, there is one presence, and there's one wisdom. Nothing else is real. So we work with the principles within ourselves. We think about them all day long. And the more we get used to that, it starts to work on automatic. So we have to work our way to our inner peace and to our missions. And we can only do it. No one can do it for us. And I can't say that enough about no one can do this for you. God created you. He knows everything about you. Everything. He's in charge. So that's where you go. And God works through other people to speak to you. And you will know. Let's say you've surrendered a problem, and then someone comes along and there's that answer, and you can smile and say, yes, that came from consciousness. We do have people here. We do talk with people. We read things. I can open a book and get a beautiful answer to something that's been bothering me, and I smile, saying, I'm hanging on to that because it's too perfect. It fits exactly what I need. But none of this happens without opening that door. Let Spirit rush in. Feel the presence. Be patient. You don't know what you've brought with you. God does. And you don't know what anyone else has brought with them. Be patient with everyone. If they're dense, if they don't, let's say they're just not good people, or they're trying to outwit someone or steal from somebody. We still have people in poverty here. We do have work to do. We have wars. We all need to serve somehow to help raise consciousness. We are not there yet. The indications are right there, but they're getting better. A lot of people don't agree with me on that. I think we're getting better. I am seeing how the world works together. I see how folks are taking care of each other, even the government helping us with some sort of even hospitalization plans, any way that we're trying to see that we all need to work for one another's benefit. That's going on all the time. It's getting better. And we have to serve that way. You can be an architect, you can be a singer, you can be someone in industry who's supporting someone, some beautiful author. Whatever it is, you will be told. But work to do, there is. But you have to know that the work you do, consciousness is going to dissolve all of the good and the evil, the Adamic or the Adamic, however you pronounce it, Adam and Eve. Something came in that said, oh, I think I'll separate from God. I got a better idea. I'd rather think this way and be my own power, be my own source, be my own boss. Kind of felt good to many of us. Yeah, look what I can do. Look who I outdid. Sure. Is that easy to let go of? Oh no, and that's the little I. So the little I has to let go of self-preservation. How do I survive? Will I eat again? Will I have a paycheck? Is there an inheritance coming? You know, that little I has to stop thinking that way. That's not how it works. Self-preservation, me, mine. Acquire, what can I acquire? It's not going to work. That's the Walking Dead. Yeah, that's the Walking Dead. That's having baggage that you can work out because you have to, because you will, because consciousness is going to be beating you over the head until you get it. You will never be deserted. You never were. You were in this place in eternity once, and it's still there. So isn't that comforting to know, you know, your success is assured. All you have to do is your homework. Meditate. Joel was big on meditation. So I give thanks for all the mystics that have raised consciousness the way they have. I mean, I don't know why the Greeks, we lost a lot of their metaphysical work and their mysticism, but I do know that Krishna and Buddha and Jesus, they were men with the same, and Joel says this, with our same pattern, the same pattern of our humanness. That's what they were men. And they, Mary Baker Eddy, a woman, she knew. She was a mystic. And mystics are telling us, we've got it. We're all mystics. And that, to me, is an enormous comfort that we can overcome this world with the work that we do and in our surrender. And mystics taught us that. I give thanks for those mystics. They taught us to let go of our egos, what we want to get. How can we give? Pouring out in gratitude, in our gifts, in our missions, is all there is to getting the soul life. For our souls to be so filled, we pour out. What we put out is what we get back of our love. To the degree that we realize that we keep tuning into our consciousness is to the degree that the kingdom is there, that the fruitage of the work that you do will come to you. And you shouldn't be surprised when wonderful things come to you because you've let go of acquiring or looking for self-preservation of some kind. You've decided to go for, what can I pour out in my human form so that my spiritual life, the fulfillment of my soul, which will take over the entire universe, which has no time and space or anything, and no death for sure, will take over and will fill you. Especially if you're in a crowded room where there's a lot of stuff going on that's negative, and you just quietly know in your private, mystical world, you know who everyone is there. You give them who they are. So God is everywhere. I sort of say that now all the time, especially when I get confused or lost, or I feel like, ugh, I've done it again. God is, He is ising, as they say. There's a phrase in the Infinite Way, nothingizing the earth plane. We've got to just let it go. It's not real. Illusions, Buddha, I mean, they found their guide. They found the truth. They got rid of the illusions of good and evil. And even the good stuff can be better. I mean, we all know the bad stuff isn't good, but even some of the good stuff can make you bored. You can say, oh, is this all there is? There must be more. And there is. And that's when the surrender comes, the gifts come to you, your mission is given to you, and you can just be confident that as you return to the source, maybe never knowing what's going on. Oh, one more clue here, because I'm coming down on my time, but I noticed Jesus could, in the fourth dimension, understand the human in their third dimension, because as consciousness works with you, you all of a sudden can see where someone else is. That to me was a very good clue, because sometimes when I think I know what someone's thinking, I think, how dare you? And yet I think I can. You can read a mind. When Jesus did his healings, he knew what was going on. He knew from his dimension into another dimension. That's a wonderful clue about the path. Plus the fact that we have to be patient and that we're growing and we have to keep working. And I just think the gifts are phenomenal from Spirit. So my friends, I'm winding down and I'm having a great time, because consciousness is not only what I am, it's what everybody is, and everybody has God working in their lives, pulling them to the truth. Truth will dissolve this plane and we'll be headed home. The source, primal substance keeps drawing us back. We can feel it. The Infinite Way has major principles. Omnipotence, the only power. Omnipresence, the only presence is God's presence, and the only wisdom, omniscience, is God's wisdom. I remember reading in one of Joel's books, the smartest person you know isn't going to be as good as what God may say to you. And God works in mysterious ways. You can get messages through books and through friends and through studying together, but basically the word does fall flat. You take that into your soul, and then it becomes workable, because you don't let it go all day. You let it ruminate in your soul so that it becomes you. Before long, you don't have to even work that hard at it. It is you. So you read the word, you do all the studying, you do all of that. That's good. But let it take over your soul. And you only let that happen with moment-to-moment meditation, the pause. That's your assignment, and that's all you have to do. To the degree that you open your soul, moment to moment is to the degree you have everything you'll ever need, and it gets better and better. And my friends, in 1 minute I'm going to check out, but I would really appreciate you being with me today. And all those mystics who did all that work, and Joel, I never met you on this dimension, but you are my buddy, and I appreciate all that you've done for the Infinite Way and for the movement that has moved so many of us. Thank you very much, my friends, for joining me on Awaken the Dream. Talk to you again soon.